All right, let's talk about game night. If you've ever tried to schedule one, you know the pain. I mean, just trying to get your whole group in the same room on the same night, it's a quest all on its own. But today, we're going to dive into a pretty amazing solution, bringing the entire game night, the board, the dice, your friends, into virtual reality.
I mean, come on, how true is this? This quote just hits so hard for anyone who's watched their group chat just fall apart over scheduling conflicts. The real boss monster of any campaign isn't some big scary dragon, it's the calendar. It always is.
And that is the big promise of VR tabletop gaming. It's not just about playing a game online, it's about getting that feeling of being together again. So how well does it actually deliver on that promise? Well, let's step into the virtual game room and take a look at what's on the shelf.
Okay, so you're sold on the idea. Where do you even start when you want to trade your physical game shelf for a virtual one? Let's check out 3 of the biggest platforms out there right now, because they each bring something totally different to the table.
So first up is Demeo and its awesome Dungeons & Dragons crossover, Battlemarked. The best way to think about this one is like a super high-end, beautifully made board game that comes right out of the box ready to go. It's all about getting you and your friends straight into a fantasy adventure with basically zero setup.
So Demeo is perfect for 1 to 4 players who really love that tactical, turn-based combat. And here's the killer feature. The game is the Dungeon Master. It handles all the rules, all the monsters, everything. So you and your friends can just focus on the fun part, the social strategy, planning your next move together. It's a fantastic way for newcomers to get into D&D and honestly, a super streamlined experience for veterans too.
Now let's swing to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. We have Tabletop Simulator, or as everyone calls it, TTS. If Demeo is that perfect curated game in a box, TTS is like a giant digital workshop with a supply of parts for any game you could possibly imagine. It's not one game, it's a platform to play everything.
Yeah, the name of the game here is flexibility. It's a true physics sandbox. You're paying around $20 for a platform that can handle huge groups of 10 or more people, and thanks to community mods, lets you play pretty much any game ever made. This is really for the group that loves variety and doesn't mind a little bit of DIY spirit. The Steam Workshop is really the beating heart of TTS. We're talking tens of thousands of free, user-made mods for just an insane number of games. And when we say sandbox, we mean it. You can literally flip the table if things go bad. But honestly, the real game changer here is the crossplay. Your friends on a regular PC can join your VR game. That is huge for keeping a group together when not everyone has a headset.
All right, our third stop is All On Board, and this one carves out its own cool little niche. It was built from the ground up for VR, and its whole focus is on officially licensed board games. The best analogy is that it's like walking into a virtual board game cafe, where all your favorite games are just sitting there, waiting for you.
So check this out. All On Board has a really smart model. You get the base game, and then you can buy these officially licensed games, like the super popular Terraforming Mars, as add-ons. But the best part, and this is just like in real life, is that only one person has to own the game. If you buy the DLC, all your friends can join your room and play for free. Plus, each game gets its own cool themed VR environment, which really helps set the mood. But, these platforms, they're about so much more than just the games themselves. To really get why VR is different, we have to talk about that magic ingredient, social presence, that feeling of actually being there.
Think about it. On a Zoom call, you'll lose all that body language, right? You can't tell who's talking to who. You can't see the little gestures. In VR, it all comes roaring back. The spatial audio means you can hear your friends' voices coming from where they're sitting. You see them physically lean in to get a closer look at the board or point something out. It's all these tiny natural cues that trick your brain into feeling like you're all in the same room.
And this quote just nails it. It's those completely unscripted moments. That impulse to lean forward when someone's making a super tense dice roll, or reaching out for a high five after a big win. That's what turns an online game into a shared memory. That feeling is presence.
Okay, but let's be real. It's not all magic and high fives. As cool as this tech is, there are some real-world limitations, some points of friction that you're definitely going to run into. We have to talk about those to get the full picture.
First off, the controls can be, well, fiddly. Trying to pick up a tiny little virtual card or place a game piece just right can be a bit clunky sometimes with motion controllers. You get used to it, for sure, but it's just not the same as using your actual hands, and it can break the immersion for a second.
Next up, and this is a big one for games like Tabletop Simulator, the platform doesn't act like a referee. it won't enforce the rules. Just like if you were at a real table, the players have to know how to play. So if you forget a rule or mess up a step, the game's not going to correct you. That freedom is great, but it means you can't just jump into a super complex new game cold.
And that brings us to setup time. For the sandbox games, you've got to find the mod you want in the workshop, get everyone to download it, and then load everything up. Now, it's usually faster than setting up a massive physical game, but it's not always that one-click-and-play dream you get with something polished like Demeo.
Okay, so taking all of that into account, the good and the bad, how does VR actually stack up against the other ways we play? Let's put VR head-to-head with a regular video call game night and, of course, the classic in-person session. And this table really lays it all out, doesn't it? Nothing is ever going to beat playing in person for that pure immersion and presence, but we know it's a huge pain to organize. Video calls are super convenient and cheap, but you completely lose that in-the-room feeling. And that's where VR finds its sweet spot. You get really high immersion and presence, but with all the convenience of just logging in. It basically solves the distance problem without totally sacrificing the social connection.
So, when you weigh the magic against the friction, it all comes down to the most important question. Is this the right move for your game group?
Look, at the end of the day, VR Tabletop isn't trying to replace that amazing feeling of sitting around a real table with your friends. The goal is to be the next best thing. It's a bridge. That's what it is. It's a bridge for all those groups that are spread out across different cities or states or even countries who just want to roll some dice together again.
So I'll leave you with this question. Just think about your own game shelf for a second. Which one of those games, maybe one that's been gathering dust for years because you can't get the group together, would be the very first one you'd bring into VR? I'd love to hear it. Drop it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and happy gaming.